Hey, what's going on, guys? So our lure review this week is going to be on the Bagley Balsa B. This crankbait, I just showed it to you guys yesterday. I got it a couple days ago. Had a little bit of time to go out and fish with it. Didn't have a whole lot of luck on it, but that's just because of the year. But mainly I went out to fish with it to kind of give you guys a little bit of feedback on what I saw on the water to supplement what I'm showing you in front of us today. So the Bagley Balsa B is what we're going to review today, so let's check it out. Alright guys, so the Bagley Balsa B crankbait, it's just another square bill crankbait. It's been out for a while. I think it's probably one of the original square bill crankbaits. I couldn't tell you that for sure, but I know it's been around for a long time. It has a cult following. There's a lot of people out there that prefer the originals over these ones. Because there's a couple of small differences from what I've seen, and people argue back and forth on whether or not those differences really make any difference at all, but I'll kind of go over those a little bit. But for this review, we're going to go over the ones that you can get brand new today. So they come in 3 different sizes. They come in a BB1, a BB2, and a BB3. And what we have here is the BB2. And it's a little different as far as the dimensions are, but I'm going to kind of thumb through them here really quick, and then I'll talk to you guys about the dimensions a little bit more after that. So the BB1 has a length of approximately 2 inches, a weight of 5/16 of an ounce, and a diving depth of 0 to 3 feet, and it's a floating lure. The next one, which was the BB2, which is what these ones are, it has a weight of 7/16 of an ounce, has a length of 2.5 inches, diving depth of 0 to 3 feet, and they're floating as well. All of them are floating. And then you have the bigger one, which is the BB3. It has a length of approximately 3 inches, a weight of 9/16 of an ounce, and a diving depth of 0 to 3 feet, and it's floating as well. And I think if you go to Bagley's website, they just show 3 in the Balsa Bs. They don't have a BB4, but if you look up on the internet, there's a BB4, and it's a slender one and a little bit longer. And I think it's probably an old one, but there are BB4 square bill Balsa Bs out there from what I found. So, but I'm not including that into our lineup here. So, and the reason why I say approximately on my dimensions, if you look at the dimensions of these bait, because they are made out of balsa wood, and I think that they're still I would assume that there's got to be some handcrafting involved. I don't think that they're a 100% handcrafted lure, but I would assume that there is some handcrafting involved in these, just because they are a balsa crankbait. And just from the 2 that I have that are both 7/16 of an ounce, because they're BB2s. I call them B2s. They call them B2s on Tackle Warehouse, but they're BB1, BB2, BB3, BB4, whatever. But just in these 2 crankbaits that I have here that are supposed to be the same size, there's a little bit of deviation in size, and I'm going to show you right here. So this is supposed to be what they call a 2.5 inch in length, and Tackle Warehouse is calling it a 2.5 inch length square bill crankbait. If you go to Bagley's website, they don't even show a length at all. So we'll look at the length here. This is just over 2 5/8 of an inch, pushing 2 3/4, and that's without the ring. And then when you add the rings, they're a little over 2 3/4, and then when you add the bill, that's right at 3 inches. Now we'll go to this one here, you guys, and we'll look at the length on this one without the rings. It's just a shadow under 2.5 inches. And then you add the rings and go on from there. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that because of the fact that they are balsa crankbaits, there's going to be a little bit of deviation in what the size is, so they can run true, because balsa, the material balsa wood, is actually something that you can't control. It's from nature. It's balsa wood, so they come in different shapes, and different densities, and you have to be able to adjust for that when you're making these crankbaits. So I mean, you can see these crankbaits, maybe you can't, but we'll line up the bills here and then pull them up, and you can see that one is longer than the other. This one is a little bit fatter than this one. So the point is that you have to be able to adjust the crankbait, or the manufacturer has to be able to adjust the crankbait to make it run true in the water, which is something that I'm sure this company's been around for a long time, so it's something that the company, I'm sure, has gotten better at over the years through manufacturing this crankbait. One of the things that I saw on the older lures that a lot of people really lust after is the brass. They used to have brass hangers in them. So like the line tie right there in the front used to be made out of brass, and the rear one used to be made out of brass. I'm not sure about the bottom one. If you look on this one does have a brass one on the back, or what looks to be a brass. I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell you 100% for certain, but it looks to be brass. And then the front one just looks to be made out of steel, I would guess. And I can't tell you why people preferred that. I went into some forums to find out, and I think it's just one of those myths that people liked it, they couldn't tell you why, and they assumed that because the new ones don't have it, that the new ones are a lesser quality than the older ones are. I haven't fished with this crankbait a ton, so I can't tell you about the quality 100%. But what I can tell you by looking at them is that they look like they're made very, very well. They have a thick Lexan lip on them, which Lexan is very, very strong, so that's not gonna chip easily at all, and it's not gonna crack and break and all that stuff, I wouldn't assume. And then the other part is that they have a nice thick gel coat over the top of them, which is gonna help for chipping. I have a little small chip here on the back, but that could just be because of the sharp hooks, which I'm sure it's because of these hooks here. I'm sure the hook just grabbed it a little bit. But the point is that I'm sure that, you know, with the technologies that they have out now, that the technology is a little bit better than what they had back when these baits were original. So that's just my 2 cents about it, okay? So moving on, they seem to have really nice hooks on them, really sticky, sharp, and strong. I couldn't find a brand of hook there, but be that as it is, they're a black nickel, and they seem to be very strong, and they're hooks, so they're sharp. So I'll be keeping them on there. I got 2 colors here. First color I'm going to show you is called Parrot. Parrot is just a blue back chartreuse bait. It's got a little bit of a scale pattern here with a bleeding gill and a shad dot. You can see this one says Bagley. As a side note, they say Bagley differently on the bottom of each of them. I don't know what that's all about, but there you have it. So this one is Parrot. The next one I'm going to show you is called Chartreuse Crayfish. And Chartreuse Crayfish has a brown back, a scale pattern rolling all the way down the side. The scale pattern's not on the top, but it is on the sides. And it's not on the belly, but it has an orange belly, and it has a little bit of what looks to be some kind of airbrushing, light gray or a light black on the sides that are airbrushed vertically on the side of the bait. And the eyes, they don't have any three-dimensional eyes, they're just painted on eyes. They have a yellow sclera, so just like you would find on most balsa baits. So this is Chartreuse Crayfish. I'm going to show you guys, this is Bomber's balsa squirrel crankbait. Very, very similar looking to this one, you guys, so I kind of want to just show you guys what they look like side by side. I mean, they are so similar. So there's a Bomber's version of it right next to the Bagley. They both have that Lexan lip. The Lexan lip on the Bomber is slightly thicker. So, and then here's another balsa bait to show you, right up against the Rapala DT Fat 03. So right there in that same size, right there in the same neighborhood of size comparison at least. So, and then I'll show you the standby, which is for everybody. The standby seems to be the KVD. That's the 1.5 right there. So there's the 1.5 up against the BB2. So there's your size comparisons for you. One thing that I like about it, it's what you would expect. It's a highly buoyant lure, so it floats very, very quick. Hits that 2 to 3 foot range. On an aggressive crank, it'll hit that 3 foot range pretty easily. But on a normal steady retrieve, I would say it's a 2 foot runner, 1.5 to 2 foot runner, just like you would expect from a highly buoyant balsa crankbait, especially of this size. So, Bagley, there they are, you guys. I was pretty happy to get out and fish with it a little bit today. So, check them out if you guys get the opportunity. Hopefully, they won't be back ordered forever like they were with me. So. Bagley Balsa B crankbait, square bill. Check it out, you guys. Thanks for watching.